have Wade today. Wade Houston, right? Did I say it right?
That's me, a real cowboy.
Okay. All right.
I moved to Miami thinking that this was going to be a great city of opportunity. Some woman pulls up in a car and says, "Hey, you need a ride down the beach." Woke up, my watch was gone, and my bracelet and my chain, my jewelry was all gone. I had everything I could ever want, going to prep school, getting recruited to play hockey. It's just at 14 years old, I got into drugs and alcohol. I was $100,000 in credit card debt, had a shitty little apartment. My friends weren't really talking to me. I had no relationship with my family. I've solved every single problem that someone could want to solve in their life. I should really help other people do this. And so my coaching helps people with all of this. Health, making money, scaling a business, managing employees.
People relate the most when they feel like you've been through shit. And I think there's a lot of people also who even lie on the internet and say they've been through shit so that more people relate to them.
Right.
Okay, guys, so Wade and I went for dinner. You came off strong.
Strong, what'd I say?
So what's dating like in Miami?
My best first dates were like paddle boarding, yoga, like fun active things. I think you can really get to see and know
Get
somebody.
to see a body, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about threesomes.
You eat one out and then you fucking finger the other two, and then you have to be a director, right? You have to say like, yo, you kiss you touch you do this, you stick your fingers in her mouth.
Can we talk about your nails?
Sure. What you want to know about them?
Can you show the camera?
You're listening to the X Podcast. The X you keep coming back to.
Yo, I'm about to hop on a podcast right now.
Hi.
Say what's up to Al.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
Ask him the toughest questions.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous. All the questions I wanted to ask, I can't remember any.
Don't worry, Wade's easy to talk to. He's the best.
He loves to talk, so that's good.
At the end of the interview, you'll think he's interviewing you.
I already took her out to dinner and fucking told her that I like to pee on people and that I like eating assholes. So she's already.
Oh, he's got a business podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's business and everything. We about to make some real viral content now, son.
Oh my god. I was like, what is the vibes? What are we going into this? Like, are we saying we went out for dinner? Are we ignoring that? I guess why not? Let's just tap into it.
Tap into everything.
So we starting the podcast with you on the FaceTime. I love you, G. Thanks for starting us off. I'll hit you. Peace.
Okay, we ready?
Let's do it.
Oh my god, I'm nervous.
Nah, don't be nervous.
Okay.
Well, okay, hold on. Let's start with this.
Yes.
Is being nervous a good thing or a bad thing?
Depends how you look at it.
It's an amazing thing.
Is it?
It's a very good thing.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. When you're nervous.
Hey guys, by the way, Wade is my guest.
What's up, y'all? How we living? I'm going to start right off with some game right here.
Okay.
But look, when you're nervous, that means a couple things. It means that you have a little bit of anxiety and that your body is focused. You have adrenaline coming through. It means that you care about the result, that you're concerned about the outcome of the situation.
Yeah.
Is wanting a good outcome, being focused, and having adrenaline, good thing or bad thing? Those are amazing things. We just need to reframe the way we think about nervousness, because if you weren't nervous going into this, that would mean the opposite, that you don't have adrenaline, that you're not focused, and you
I
don't
don't
care,
care.
which means you're aloof, which means you're never going to produce a good result of anything going on. Every pro athlete still has nervousness when they go into a situation. If you listen to Steph Curry, he still talks about wanting and welcoming the butterfly feeling before the game because he knows that it means he's locked in and he's about to have an excellent performance. If he didn't have that, he wasn't locked in. And so you want the nervousness. Just reframe the way you think about it to, this is what's going to dial me in. And the only thing that's going to limit me from producing a good result as a result of having nerves is not breathing.
Okay.
So
I was just gonna go like, I was nervous because you're hot, but like,
ooh, I like that.
but like we
Thank you.
can go there.
Deep already. I appreciate you.
So guys, welcome back to the X Podcast. Clearly we're already starting deep, but I have Wade today. Wade Houston, right? Did I say it right?
That's me, a real cowboy.
Okay. All right. And I basically stumbled upon like you on Explorer. You just like your videos have been going viral. I don't know why they've been on my feed, but they have been. I think there was like a couple of videos that I saw that went, the one about you in Miami with your Rolex and getting robbed,
Yes.
which I want to talk about actually.
Let's.
So maybe we could just start there.
Yeah. So I moved to Miami thinking that this was going to be a great city of opportunity. And I had spent the 5 years before that partying down here. So every dollar that I made, I would come down and go to Story, live, rent supercars, stay at the penthouse at the one. And I was just living the most unbelievable, typical Miami party life. I moved down here and very quickly, within 3 months, realized that I was just not able to sustain that life, right? I was out partying every single night, and then I would wake up and I would go to work. And one night I went out to the club. I left. I took a ride home from a stranger because I was so fucked up.
What do you mean by a stranger?
Okay, so I ordered an Uber. It canceled. Another one canceled. And I was at this point where I was like browned out, and I was like, oh God, I just want to get home. And some woman pulls up in a car and says, hey, you need a ride down the beach? And I was like, yeah, I do. So she's like, where are you going? And I was at least capable enough of knowing not to tell her my home address. And so I just said, a place nearby. So she gives me a ride, and she scoops out. She got that big fingernail, and she scoops out some Coke and does a little bump, and then she scoops some more and says, hey, do you want some? And she gives it to me.
You're like, wow, the Ubers these days are amazing.
Amazing.
They have fucking cocaine and a lift?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So I did it, and the second I did it, I'm like, oh my God, that was not Coke. And mind you, it's not like I'm a beginner with drugs. Like I could do a gram of ketamine a night, no problem, and like have no issue.
Okay.
So this was something else. I don't know what it was. And all I can remember is within like 2 minutes, just feeling my face melt to my shoulder and just my whole world spinning and out. And I woke up like 3 hours later, right next to Flamingo Park in the road, like right next to all the cars. And my watch was gone, and my bracelet and my chain, my jewelry was all gone. She left me with my phone and wallet, thank God.
Oh, that was nice of her.
I know.
At that point, you're already doing the deed. Take it all.
Yeah, right. But
but I think, what do you do with the phone? Isn't it like you can't even?
Yeah, she got way more for my watch than she could for anything else.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They actually right outside of the W, they look and they wait for people with nice watches, and then they target them when they're drunk at like whatever 2-3 in the morning. And this was a thing. I later found out through the police that
they're
this
like,
was a thing.
which degenerate is drunk enough and fucking high enough to just fall for it? And
Yeah.
that
exactly.
was you.
That was me. I was like stumbling and obviously looked like the part.
Crazy. But then what? You wake up at your place?
So I wake up. I can barely see my phone. This is what I remember. I remember it was so blurry and so fuzzy, and my knees were all cut up. And I get an Uber. I get back to my house, and I fall asleep. And I wake up the next morning, and I just remember. And I had to go to work. And I remember thinking, like, what the fuck has my life come to? I wake up in my bed, and I'm like, how did I get here? How did I go from such an unbelievable upbringing with two lovely, parents with good morals? How did I go to prep school and college and like, have scholarships to play hockey? And how did I go through life and get here? Addicted to drugs, getting robbed by hookers, and I'm like, fuck. And I woke up and I was just, I've had a ton of judicial consequences before this, and one would think, wow, you should have stopped years ago. But this was the moment that just brought me to my bottom, not because of the watch, but because I just felt spiritually completely bankrupt. I finally in that moment felt like, fuck.
I need to change something.
I need to change. Something has to change. And I called my dad and I was like, hey, Dad, my watch got stolen. I've kind of been fucking up again. Like, I'm thinking about moving back home to Vermont. And he was like, it doesn't matter where you move. You're going to have to work on yourself. He's like, look, the way I see it, you have two options. Either you bounce in and out of AA for the rest of your life and you continue to be a fucking loser, or you go to AA, get a sponsor, work the 12 steps, and maybe you'll have a chance at a successful life. And my dad doesn't even know that much about AA aside from like what he's learned through my prior journey. And it just hit me. In that moment, like that statement from my dad was like, that's it. I've been trying for 10, 12 years to get sober. Not really trying, but just like going to AA when I had to, court mandated and all that shit. Right. To like, I'm going to do this.
Because it came from you this time.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
And I walked into an AA room, and so I got drugged and robbed on May 5th, 2019, and May 6th, 2019, the very next day I walked into an AA room after work and went to my first meeting, and it was history from there. I've been completely sober for over 5 years now.
Walk me through what an AA meeting is.
Yeah, so there's different formats of AA meetings.
Right.
Sometimes it'll be a speaker meeting. Sometimes it'll be, a
Like
group
you didn't
meeting.
stay overnight. You just went to like meetings.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So I've been to rehab plenty of times
Okay.
before when I was addicted to Oxycontin in the past, which we can get into. and rehab is a jump start to get you away from the environment that you're in, right? It's a 30 to 60, 90-day period of
Right.
time away.
They kind of let you know when they think you're ready to go, and then you
Correct.
go.
But rehab itself will not help you foster a spiritual experience or a new mind. Like, you have to work through all your shit. And really the best way that I've found is through the 12-step program, which is, for me, was AA. So you walk into this meeting, and in this specific meeting, the first one that I walked into, someone is speaking, they're sharing their story. Right. And they always say in AA, instead of judging other people, try and associate with them. Don't compare, but see where you can find similarities. And so I walk in, and the kid that's speaking, the front of the meeting, doesn't look like me. Had his mom was like some gypsy, and he was living all throughout Florida, didn't play sports, wasn't interested in the same shit, was gay, nothing similar to me at all. And in the past I would have judged, and I would have been like, fuck, I'm out here again. Like, I'm not
Right.
like these people. But instead I sat there and I was like, this kid actually used drugs and alcohol the same way that I did, and I relate to the way that he used drugs and alcohol, and it's very obvious that he has an amazing life now. And then after his story, I heard like 7 people in the crowd share about how he's changed their life and about how they're all sober. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to swallow my pride and ego, and I'm not going to judge, and I'm just going to walk up to him and ask him if he'll be my sponsor. And he changed my life.
Wow. And now still to this day, you guys still talk?
I have a different sponsor now because
Okay.
he moved away.
Okay.
But yeah, I still talk to him from time to time. And
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
yeah.
Wow. That's amazing to see, like, you flipped from like that to your life obviously now. And now you're like a life coach, mindset, performance, everything. So can we talk a little bit about that? Like, obviously I feel like people relate the most when they feel like you've been through shit. And I think there's a lot of people also who even lie on the internet and say they've been through shit so that more people relate to them.
Right.
I don't know if you know that,
see
but
it
like
all the time.
there's one guy that I was like, I'm so believing in his story. And then like a week ago, my girlfriend's like, by the way, that guy, like what he said is not true. He came from like the richest family. And I'm like, wait, what? This whole time I've been like feeding into his whole life, and it's been a fucking fraud.
Totally.
So I think there's obviously a lot of relatability when it comes to someone who's been through shit. So having a coach who like can understand you, I can see it being so much better, obviously. So now you're a life coach for obviously different things. Can you talk a little bit about all of them?
Yeah, absolutely. What you just said is really important, because throughout my time of trying to get sober and trying to change my life, I had different psychologists, therapists, doctors, family members, people that hadn't been through the pain, people that hadn't been through the struggle or overcome the problems I was looking to overcome. And none of their education, none of their past experience could ever help me in a way that somebody else who had been through those problems could have. And it wasn't until I got a sponsor that, helped me get sober, and a mentor that thought the same way as me, that had overcome all the same problems. And since they had been through the problems and solved them for themselves, those were the people that actually accelerated my success. And so I think that's really important, is to find people that have actually been through the problems.
Right.
And it's very difficult to see online initially, because look, in short form content, the way that we're consuming content now, especially on, TikTok, Twitter,
For sure.
Instagram, it's very easy to be like, yeah, that person has a good message and like they're probably telling the truth. But it's not really until they get into a longer version of their story, whether it be on YouTube, a podcast, or some other format, that you can say, wow, that person actually has been through that, and it's verified, that they have.
Yeah.
And that's my story. Look, I came from an unbelievable background and family. Like, I didn't grow up in poverty. I had an incredible upbringing. I had everything I could ever want, going to prep school, getting recruited to play hockey. It's just at 14 years old, I got into drugs and alcohol, and I got 3 DUIs.
Do you know why you got into it? Like,
it was just fun. It was, the party
Okay.
thing to do. Going into sophomore year in college, they were having parties, and I remember my very first party, there was weed, mushrooms, and alcohol. I had drank alcohol before that, but not like anything super crazy.
what was your first drug?
All 3. So,
Oh, wow.
So, I drank
So you're
alcohol.
an extremist.
I drank alcohol before that, but yeah, once that shit was on, it was on. Like, I remember one of my first. So shortly thereafter, maybe 4 months later, it was wintertime again, and we had a snow day. And on the snow days, we would all go sledding. Everyone would drink at my parents' house. I would lock up the house and we would go out. And I wouldn't drink until we, left the house because I wanted to make sure everything was good. And we used to have a Bacardi 151. That was like the liquor that I liked. This was like within 6 months of starting my drinking career,
Okay,
right?
I
I was
hate
already
Bacardi.
under Bacardi 151. And I would put it in a water bottle like this.
I get why you went to drugs now.
Yeah. And I would put it in a water bottle. I would bring it with me and I would drink half of it. No problem. I'm a sick fuck. I
Yeah.
would just drink half of it like warm.
And you're like a functioning alcoholic at this point.
Well, this was early on. So I would drink half and I'd be like, I'm not that fucked up. Like I want to get on everybody else's level. Everyone else is acting stupid. So I would finish the other half. And if you look at a bottle, almost a bottle full of Bacardi 151, that's like 3/4 of a liter or maybe half of a liter, like way too much for somebody to be drinking at that time. And I would pass out. I would fall asleep on the couch. I would piss myself, and my friends would have to bring me back home to my parents' house. That was like one of my very first episodes within 6 months of drinking. And it just continued to go on. 3 DUIs, 3 assault charges. I went to prep school, got kicked out of prep school. I went to college, got kicked out of college. I was playing junior hockey, and I got kicked off my team. Like, I just had many judicial consequences to the point where I was like, fuck, I probably shouldn't be drinking anymore. So drinking was the first thing that I gave up when I was like 23, 24.
Right. And obviously, like, there's a lot of people who are going to be listening who are going through, either their substance is alcohol or drugs or maybe both. But what is the first step? Like, you're saying AA or having a sponsor, but I feel like it's hardest when like something happens in your life, like you can be on the path of like getting sober and then something happens and then you kind of fall back in the loop. So how do you kind of like stop yourself from getting to that point? Because I think a lot of people relapse.
Yep.
So
it's actually not just drugs and alcohol that happens with, right? We go to the gym, we start for 3 months, and then all of a sudden something happens and we stop going to the gym. We start our diet, we do it for a week, and then we go to a birthday party and have fucking cupcakes, and then we fall off.
Yeah.
Right? We get into a relationship and we're working on ourselves, and then all of a sudden we stop working on ourselves and our boyfriend or girlfriend does something that pisses us off, and we start to be vindictive and gossipy and blaming them, right? Like with anything in life that we're trying to improve or get better on, there's always going to be these periods of difficulty or reversing back to what we used to do, right? Not everybody has to have a relapse. There's some people that get sober and never go back again. But what's important is that you change the people, places, and things. You can't assume to go back into the same environment with the same people at the same places and be able to stay sober for a period of time, right? Like if you go to a barbershop enough times, you're eventually going to get a haircut. Right? If you go to enough birthday parties with cake, you're eventually going to eat the cake. If you go to the bar enough times, you're eventually going to have a drink. So it doesn't matter what it is, but you have to actually work on yourself day by day, whether it's through a 12-step program with a mentor, through, if it's fitness, having a workout program that you can track and have accountability for. Same with nutrition. Anything that you want to improve in your life, it's important to have some sort of foundation and program that you're working on day by day. And if you do go back, right? If you do relapse in whatever arena that it is, instead of judging yourself and saying, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a fuck up, I'm a glutton, I'm lazy, I'm fat, you have to understand that that was an isolated event. So anytime you fuck up, you just say, that's a one-time thing, an isolated event. It does not define me as a person. I'm going to leave that in the past and I'm going to get right back on the horse and continue to go. People will start to characterize or internalize something that they did that they didn't like and make it a part of who they are. That's not what we should do. Just say it's isolated, leave it in the past, and then every time we continue to do positive, healthy things day by day, we let those characterize who we are as a person. And we reward ourselves for the effort that we put in to make ourselves better individuals. And so that's like a pattern that one should go through in order to stay on the straight and narrow.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great. Very well said too.
We talked a little bit about getting sober and you said, okay, you know what, tell me a little bit about your life coaching and what you do to help people.
Yeah.
So the reason that I got into this is not just because I got sober and I solved that issue. I was also diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder, and the doctor said, you're going to be on prednisone and azathioprine for the rest of your life.
What was it? What was the autoimmune?
It's called autoimmune hepatitis. It's not a contractable form of hepatitis. It's not like Hep C or whatever. It's actually like very similar to Crohn's.
Okay.
But basically they said, hey, you're having issues with your liver. And I didn't feel any symptoms whatsoever. I took a simple blood test, and I was actually getting an investment product, whole life insurance. And they said, your liver enzymes are elevated. I went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you're going to be on these medications for the rest of your life. And I basically was like, fuck you. Like,
I
that's
fucking hate doctors, and
Yeah.
they just give you something to just get you out of the office, and it's like it's never the answer.
And so I asked them, I was like, okay, is there anything else I can do? What about does this have anything to do with my past drug behavior? No. What about my nutrition? What about my lifestyle choices? What about, no. These are your only options. I'm like, any other options? They're like, no, nothing. So I talked to 5 different gastroenterologists and hepatologists around the United States, some of the most profound doctors, prolific doctors, and they all said the same bullshit. And I was like, yo, this is whack. I don't believe any of you. So I started getting incredibly researched on the liver, on nutrition, on autoimmune disorders, on the body, on everything. And I became so educated that I found that with simple nutrition diet changes, I could probably start to eliminate a lot of the issues that I was having if I just did that. And then I started researching about, some liver detoxification through glutathione injections, and I started researching about exosomes and stem cells. So I go back in for my checkup. So I stop the medication. I completely change my diet. I start exercising better. No more fried foods, no more seed oils, no more everything. I just went organic, whole food, super healthy. I started doing some glutathione injections, and 6 months later, I go back to the doctor and they look at my blood and they say, wow, the medication's really working. Your levels are like almost back to normal again. And I was like, listen, motherfuckers, I got off that medication 6 months ago. And I was so pissed. And I was a prick too. I was like, you dumb motherfuckers. You don't have any clue, do you?
Well,
I'm like, you know nothing about nutrition. I'm like, actually, you know what? And I was such a fucking dick. I was like, how many days did you learn about nutrition in your school of in your school of medicine? And they were like, 2. And I was like, yeah, you don't know shit. And I was like, look, I'm never going to fucking see you again. With all due respect, I don't respect you at all. And look, it's not their fault. I understand that they're confined by the medical system, and all they can do is prescribe medications that are covered by insurance, which is bound by Big Pharma. And so the system is set up for failure. It's not set up to actually get people better. It's set up to keep people sick.
I actually have not a similar story, but I have eczema. Okay. So every time I'd go to the doctor, they'd be like, well, you need to put this cortisone, and cortisone is not good for your skin. Right. And if you take too much of it, it's a steroid. Right. So it can react. It can be even worse. So as a kid, I'd get a little flare up. My mom would put it on me. She'd be like, okay, whatever, it's fine. But as I got older, at a point, your body changes sometimes. So I was going through crazy reactions, and I was doing kind of like you. I was like, okay, listen, I can't be on cortisone for the rest of my life. I need to figure out another solution. So I was Googling, doing a bunch of research. I became obsessed, that's how it is. So I get the feeling of just wanting to figure out, get to the root of the situation. So I was doing so much research, and it's people say don't go read on Google because you're going to find out you have cancer and all the shit's going to pop up. But I was like, hey, whatever. I'm just going to do my research. And then I went to see a naturopath. I'm like, I'm fucking done with doctors. They say it's you either do the injection, because it's also an autoimmune disorder, eczema. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go see this naturopath. She looks at me and she goes, okay, you need to stop, eating bread for a bit, milk. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm Italian. Do you want me to stop eating all these things? I love this shit. She's like, stop for a month, see how your body reacts, and then we'll take it from there. You'll come see me again. If you see that your skin is clearing up, then maybe you'll reintroduce it, but in a bit. So whatever. So I was at first I was like, is this really going to work? Me cutting out gluten, bread, even certain vegetables, raw vegetables I couldn't eat. So many things. But after the month, I was like, what the fuck? Is life really all about what you eat?
A lot of it. And
then it just opened my mind that I was so many people have illnesses, and I'm like, if they would just eat what the body needs, they would cure. Okay, look, maybe you can't cure 100% of it, but you can definitely cure 90-95%.
Yeah,
so
nutrition is absolutely the biggest factor.
And it's crazy when you realize your body is your temple.
100%. And that's exactly what I learned through this journey, right? Was getting sober, beating my autoimmune disorder. I started to change my mindset. COVID happened. I had a financial technologies company that failed. I called one of my buddies and said, hey, man, I want a job, being a financial advisor again, because that's what I used to do. And he said, nah, man, you should go work on yourself. And he hung up the phone. And this is why I'm very blunt and very direct with a lot of people, because that was exactly what I needed in that moment. I needed someone to wake me the fuck up and be like, yeah, you're sober, but there's so much more personal development for you to get to the next level. And at the beginning of COVID, I just took his advice and I started getting
That's a good friend.
Incredibly in shape. I started leading workout programs. I started helping other people. I had already a little bit of a meditation practice, but I accelerated that and I started teaching people meditation. I got into breath work. I got even healthier
That's
with my
another
diet.
thing, my naturopath. She's like, "Are you breathing?" I'm like, I guess. Yeah. She's like, "No, no, no, no. You're gonna breathe three times a day." And then I started meditating because I'm just like, okay, well, we're on this, so let's just do it. It's like one thing led to another. So it's just funny that you're saying that, but yeah.
Yeah, breath work's super important because Gary Breck always says this, someone that I worked with at 10X. He says the presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. And so a lot of times disease will enter into a hypoxic state. It'll be created in a hypoxic state. And so, if you have oxygen in your body, you're going to limit, autoimmune disorders, disease, degenerative conditions. And so it's overlooked and very important.
For sure. And I think another thing that really helps is like you can't sit and like dwell in it. You got to like get up, work out, do things. I heard this thing that was like, if you cannot control something, take away its only thing, and it's attention. And I feel like when I was going through my thing, I'm just like, oh my God, like I can't leave my house. This is crazy, I'm like, I don't want to see anyone. I'm fucking ugly. Like, it just puts you through like so much shit. And then you realize that the more you put attention on the things you don't like, the more they grow.
Of course.
So you just have to like go out there, and also working out. If you're fucking depressed and you work out, you will feel so much better after. I feel like I can fucking take on the world after a workout. So
the only difference between sadness and joy is oxygen. That's it. And so if you can get into a highly oxidative state, through a workout, through some breath work, it'll change your ability to be in an elevated mood the entire day. That's why for me, working out and doing breath work every single day in the morning primes my day in a way that it is virtually impossible for me to have a bad day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, on that topic, actually, the last person I interviewed, I asked, like, are you happy? And they were like, well, I don't think, being in life, you need to be happy like every day. I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, so I would agree with the fact that happiness is an emotion, and it's come and go. And life is an array of emotions. Sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm jealous, sometimes I'm envious, sometimes I'm happy. I have all arrays of emotions, as every human does. My ability to return back to center quickly is what gives me an ability to be content with myself. And I am so content with myself, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
One of the major keys is a Stoic principle called negative visualization. Are you familiar with this?
No.
Okay. So it starts off with a concept called hedonic adaptation, or the fact that we live on a hedonic treadmill, which means all we're looking for in life is more, 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 and we'll be happy when we get X, Y, and Z.
Right.
The bag, the girl, the house, the Ferrari, whatever it is. And I went through a period of my life where I started making a shitload of money, coming down here and renting supercars. I got the sick house. I had the smoking hot girl, but I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't content. And then what I realized was nothing external is going to provide real, long-lasting joy, happiness, and contentment for me. It was something that was internal. And so hedonic adaptation says the more material things we get, the incrementally less happy we get when we get them.
That's crazy.
And it's this never-ending treadmill that always goes on. Now, that doesn't mean you can't strive for nice shit. I love nice shit, and I will always like nice shit.
Same.
But one of the keys to contentment is something called negative visualization, which is stripping in your mind everything that you have in your life out of it and imagining your life with nothing. Naked, homeless, no family, no friends, no material shit, no job, no ability to earn, zero. Literally like a homeless person on the street. And just for a short period of time, not to dwell, not to be pessimistic, but just imagining your life in this way. The way I do it is just imagining my life in that deepest, darkest time when I got drugged and robbed and had nothing. I just remember what I was like, what I felt when I was on that street corner. And then I return to today and what I have in my life, and I realize all I need in my life is what I currently have. I already have everything I need. And the key to real fulfillment and contentment is just wanting what you already have.
Wow. I feel like now that you're saying that, I feel like I've done that, but subconsciously. Like even when I was working like a 9 to 5, I'd be like, oh, when I get out and I work for myself, I'm going to be so happy every day. And then when I'm having a bad day or something happens with the podcast, I'm like, bitch, Alette, you were dying to be in the position you are now. And hold yourself accountable, and then you just kind of get out of the loop.
Exactly. It's so important to do that. And the other thing is, look, I'm not going to start my life, or I'm not going to be happy when something happens. Like, do I want a Rolls? Yes. Do I want the $20 million mansion? Yes. Do I want, other things? Sure. But I'm so content with the journey right now. I'm content because I'm improving every single day. And really, I'm at a position in my life where there's nothing that can happen that I'm not going to be content with myself. I also have a lot of confidence in myself, not because of how I look, not because of how much I make, not because of the car I drive, but because every single day I keep the promises I make to myself. I say I'm going to wake up at 5, I do it. I never miss. I say I'm going to go for a walk, I never miss. Go to a workout, never miss. Do breath work, meditation, read something positive, never miss. Post all this shit on my story and make sure I talk about a problem that I've overcome. I have a responsibility to do that now. I never miss. And so as a result, my confidence is so high just because I keep the promises I make to myself.
1,000%. I think it's also like the power of being able to say no in certain, even me in the past, like I would be like, okay, well, I need to do this. I set this for myself. So I can't chill with my friends. I have to do this. And then, a girlfriend calls and she's like, babe, let's just go out, and I put aside what I was supposed to do. I'm not happy out. I'm angry at myself. How am I supposed to enjoy myself when I know I did myself wrong? And when you do yourself wrong, you're not confident in yourself, right? Because then you can't even trust yourself. So how the hell are you going to trust other people?
Exactly.
So it's just, yeah.
Most people don't analyze the relationship that they have with themselves. If you say to me, hey, let's go to dinner, I'll meet you at 8 o'clock, and I no call, no show, you're going to be like, what the fuck? You're going to lose confidence in me very quickly. And if you say, hey, we got a podcast at 1 o'clock on Sunday, and I no call, no show, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, I have no confidence in this person. But if we say to ourselves, hey, I'm not going to go out to dinner tonight, I'm going to cook and I'm going to eat healthy, and then someone calls us and we go out anyway, we're not observing the relationship we have with ourselves. We made a promise and we didn't do it, so we lose confidence. If I say I'm going to go work out at the gym tomorrow and do 2 other things, and I say, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I'm going to hit the snooze button, I'm not going to go to the gym, we lose confidence. We get to a point where we just basically give up on ourselves because we haven't observed or kept the promises we're making to ourselves.
Yeah. So actually, I don't even know if I should be saying this, but one of my best friends is an alcoholic. And I'm just like never sure how I should kind of like approach the situation because I've tried like so many different.
Oh yeah, don't.
Just don't?
Don't. Yeah, there's nothing that you can do. Absolutely nothing that you can do.
Really?
Yeah,
That's so sad.
It is and it isn't, right? This should help you understand one thing, and it'll help you when you have kids, and it'll help you in every situation in your life. But you have zero control over what someone else does. Right? There's a principle called the dichotomy of control in Stoicism, which means there are things that you have ultimate control over, which is your attitude, what you say, and what you do, and things that you have zero control over, which is everything else in the world. Okay. And you have zero control over what this person decides to do. They're not going to get sober for you. They don't give a fuck. In fact, when I was addicted to drugs and people would be like, you should get sober, my first thought was, fuck you. I'm going to go get an oxy right now. Don't fucking tell me what to do. And it makes it worse. It makes it way worse. You have to let people live on their own terms, and they're going to figure out their bottom when the time is right for them.
Do you feel like distancing yourself is like a good way for them to kind of realize?
Totally. Tough love is the only thing that ever got me to that point. When my friends and my family gave up on me, when my buddy told me, you need to go work on yourself, I'm not helping you. When like, and people say this a lot. They're like, how can you possibly be a coach and tell people they're soft ass pussy little bitches? I'm like, cause that's what soft ass pussy little bitches need to hear. That's what I needed to hear. Look, I was incredibly disciplined, and I was already the president of 10X Health. My life was basically completely optimized, and I was afraid to get online. I didn't want to take a selfie video, and I didn't want to start a coaching program for fear of being judged. And when I met Wes Watson on a boat, and he said to me, what's your story? And I told him everything that I had overcome, and he said, bro, you're being fucking selfish for not helping other people overcome those same problems. It hit me. And it wasn't, oh man, it's okay. Maybe you're being a little selfish. It was, no, bro, you're being fucking selfish. And it wasn't until someone was really blunt and pointed with me that it hit me in the head.
For sure.
And that's why I'm so blunt and pointed with people, is because most people just need to be waking the fuck up. If you take offense to something that somebody says who is above you, you have an issue that you need to work on. If somebody is more optimized, if they're more fit than you, if they're healthier than you, then they make more money, if they have better relationships, if they help more people than you, and they tell you you're being a fucking bitch in a certain situation, wake the fuck up. You have something that you need to work on. And still to this day, every single day, I wake up and I say, God, please help me observe parts of my life that I don't like about myself, that I need to improve about myself, or conceptions that I have and think I know are true that may not be true or useful to myself or others. So that's my frame of mind, which is let's learn.
Yeah. When you speak to God, you start with what you're grateful for.
So the first thing that I ask is to help me be useful to other people.
Okay.
Right. And so it's the very first thing, is because by nature I'm extremely selfish. Luckily, now that I have a coaching program and the platform of Instagram, I'm less selfish on a daily basis. But by nature, I'm very selfish. And
the coach is selfish.
Yeah, right. and in a way, you sort of have to be.
That's kind of, I was gonna say, because I'm kind of selfish in a lot of ways, and I feel like sometimes in order to, help someone drowning, you got to put your life jacket on first.
That's the key.
So
and that's really it. Like, Look, if somebody's trying to be everything for everybody else and they're completely selfless, but they haven't yet optimized themselves, then they're not a good representation to other people of what they could be. And so by default, me focusing on myself and becoming fucking 6% body fat, looking like a fucking specimen, me being incredibly healthy and making good food choices, me making a shitload of money, having a bunch of things, having a positive effect on people, by me being selfish and focusing on myself, everyone else around me says, holy fuck, how did this motherfucker go from a degenerate drug addict to a complete specimen in every realm? And so that selfishness is what shows other people that this is possible.
Yes.
So you got to be optimized in order to be
sure.
a representative of your best version of yourself.
Yeah. What would you say to anyone who's kind of going through this process, but they feel like their friends aren't where they're at anymore?
Oh, I mean, you are gonna outgrow other people very quickly, and I have outgrown people so quickly. I have no patience or tolerance for anybody in my life who talks about other people, who wants to gossip, who talks about how the system fucks them, or let's go to the bar and get drugs. Zero. I just completely cut it out of my life. And there's this period of solidarity, of isolation, where you know you're going to be successful, but you're not there yet. And you've kind of outpaced your current friends, but you're not yet at the next level. I was there for 2 years. I only had 2 friends for 2 years. Christian and Brett were my only 2 friends, and they were the only 2 people focused on getting sober, healthy, positive, making money. And you just have to go through this process. You're going to have to clip some people out of your life. You might not be able to imagine your life without those people. And that's the hardest thing is, oh my God, my life is not going to be how it looks today. How could I ever not have these friends? These are my friends. I've known them forever. And that was my conception. I had known these friends, when I moved down here forever. I'd known them since high school. I
think it's hard sometimes because there's certain friends I have in my life where I know their great qualities. So I keep them around because there's things I love about them. There's obviously things that I'm like, oh, like I don't really like this. But then let's say, for example, someone's like really big on gossiping and all they do is like talk shit about people, and they're not good at keeping secrets or whatever the situation is. I will know, okay, great, I'll be friends with her, but I won't share certain things that I know that's a bad quality she has. Is that bad? Should I just X that kind of person out if it's like affecting me, I guess?
It depends on your vision and what you want out of your life.
Okay.
I think, look, it's twofold. I think in this situation, men and women are a little bit different because as a woman, you're a little bit more empathetic. You're a little bit more social. You talk, talking about people is kind of part of what goes on in your life.
Yeah.
As a man, my focus is how can I grow? How can I have the biggest possible impact in specifically in business, right? And I'm thinking most of the time about money and my impact there. So I'm not really thinking so much about other people.
Right.
So if another man comes in my life who wants to gossip or talk about other people, I just cut them.
Yeah.
But also my vision is massive. Like I know my vision is to help hundreds of millions of people.
That's why you're here, Wade.
Exactly.
I literally, when I came across your page, I'm like, he's going to blow up. So I just need to DM him.
Thanks. I love that.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
You could just tell. I feel like I've been right in a lot of situations. So
I
mean, but like, I'm just saying.
I mean, what was the very first thing that I said when I met you?
Holy fuck. Okay, guys. So Wade and I went for dinner. You came up strong.
Strong, what'd I say?
I was like, yo. He's like, I'm ambitious. I'm going to the top. I'm going to be the best. Fuck, you said everything. And I was like, yo, can I get a dirty martini, please?
She's like, oh, so Instagram's going pretty good. I'm like, yo, I'm going
to blow up.
And then she looked at me again. She's like, yeah, no, I can see that. And I looked at her and said, no, seriously, I'm on the verge of blowing up.
I'm like, yo, chill. I know I fucking DM'd you. Like,
but yo, that's the attitude that you have to have.
No, it's hot. It's hot when someone's just like, I know it. And
like, I believe I am the best at what I do. Right. And there are people way above me in many realms. Right. Like I have people that I really look up to. But you have to.
Right. Even if like you're living in your own delusion, like people who get there are always like delusional.
Totally.
If you're not delusional, then you're going to give up.
Exactly.
You have to know you're the best.
100%. And look, this shit is just so real for me. I just live this, Like, I was a complete degenerate, doing 5 Oxycontin 80s a day, eating Snickers bar and smoking cigarettes for breakfast, and then having fucking Xanax and weed every day. Like, I had a fucked up life.
Yeah.
To today, waking up at 5 a.m. every day, having the most disciplined life you could ever have. I don't do anything unhealthy. I don't waste my time doing anything that's not growth-minded. And so the stark difference for me, it's like, it's so obvious that I really live this shit. And anybody you'll ever meet, it's like, I get these messages every single day after I leave people. They're like, your energy energy is infectious.
Yeah.
And this shit isn't fake. And it's not like I'm a fucking crackhead where people are like, yo, I need to get away with this kid. It's like, I'm able to listen. I'm able to pause. I'm able to be social. But also, I just have a fervor for life that like we need to consistently get better. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's really how I feel.
Wow. Okay. Nothing unhealthy. That dessert wasn't unhealthy in any way.
I mean, okay.
Fucking with you.
Maybe I have some desserts. Okay. I still do this, everyone. You'll see. Watch my boy Champ's YouTube, and it's like
He's
fucking
a fucking liar.
Wade binges on desserts, which is true. Look, I do absolutely love my sweets more
That
than
dessert was
anything.
fire, though.
It was very fire. The beignets at Dirty French are fucking out of control for anybody listening. You might have like a $900 dinner, but that's okay.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about dating. Obviously, we went out. What were your thoughts?
It was a lovely date.
It was a lovely date.
It's great.
Do you go out on dates all the time and say, I'm going to be the best, I'm going to be the biggest?
No. I mean,
You just felt you had to do that with me.
Well, first off, I knew that we were having a podcast, and so I wanted to make sure that I got to know you a little bit before the podcast because there's way more to talk about.
I didn't know how I felt about that. I was going to say no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was going to say no because I was like, oh, like, what? We're going to go to dinner and then like I have to interview him on Sunday. Is that going to be awkward? Like, girls, we think of these things, we're like,
I don't even think about it. I just think like
100%. You're a guy.
My best podcast I ever had was when I spent 12 hours with this kid, and then he was like, "Yo, let's run a podcast, at your house." And we were able to go so much deeper because you already knew, a bunch of stuff about me.
For sure. So what's dating like in Miami? I feel like it's like nuts.
It's very interesting for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about it. These
mean,
videos are gonna be chopped up.
I mean, it's interesting, and okay, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Everyone always says like, oh, the girls in Miami are pretentious and they've been ruined and they just want like rich shit and they're materialistic. That's not their fault. It's the fault of the fucking 50-year-old fat dude who came in and consistently spoiled all of these girls. That's who actually ruins dating in Miami. It's all of the really rich retired motherfuckers.
No, I don't think it's them.
What do you think it is?
That is not. You're wrong. I'm sorry. We're having our first disagreement.
Okay,
it's been going good until then. It's your upbringing. It all starts in the upbringing. I think if you're raised properly, those things won't affect you the same way.
I certainly used to think that.
Okay.
And I know plenty of girls who live here who have had an unbelievable upbringing as well. They've had very good values. But imagine this. You start spending time here and you look the way that you do, right? And you go out to a place and you're dating a normal guy who's got a normal job and it feels cool. And then you go out with your girls one night and somebody's got a table and it's a VIP table. And then afterwards they have a really cool party and then you go there and they have a 100-foot boat and a 30-foot mansion and everything is paid for. And then the chauffeur drives you home and you're like, wow, that was... holy shit, that's kind of a cool life, and you go back home and you go to your normal life and you seeing this guy or whatever, and then you go out again like a couple weeks later with your friends, and then some guy's like, yo, we're going to Aspen on the plane, right? And it's like all 10 of you girls can come with us, and it's like, well, but like I'm not interested in this guy and I don't want to do it. Are you going to say like my morals and my upbringing are going to limit me from saying yes to this plane ride? Maybe, maybe not. But you might find yourself in a position like, what's the harm? This guy's not necessarily trying to fuck me. He just likes having hot girls around and all my girls are going with us. What a fun trip to go on a private jet and then go stay at the St. Regis in Aspen and have everything taken care of. Yeah, fuck it. We'll go.
Yeah.
And then this shit starts to slowly creep. And all of a sudden, you're like, wow, why would I get picked up in a Toyota Corolla?
Oh, for sure.
And go to some normal ass place when I can have the chauffeur pick me up or Uber SUV pick me up, a premium SUV, and then I can go to the nice restaurants and do the nice shit. And all of a sudden, you become really accustomed to this. And believe me, I know because I'm bougie as fuck. There's no chance I'm going to some shitty ass place. There's no chance I'm taking an Uber X. There's no fucking chance I'm going to any of this shit. I'm not going to go out on a little dingy boat. Like, yeah, look, once in a while, might it be fun? Yeah, sure. But like, I'm doing the nice shit. And this is what happens, the law of exposure. Once you're exposed to the shit, you can't be unexposed. And there's so much money being thrown around here. I'm not saying that a girl's upbringing or her integrity is going to be challenged by some older guy paying for her shit. I'm saying that life you start to become accustomed to, and it's like, wow, why would I go to something else?
Oh, for sure. When you're shown a lifestyle, it's very hard to go the other way. I think I could even say, like, 100%. I'm not dating a fucking loser, especially after I've been shown, like, no, for sure.
But you'll see, like, when you spend enough time living here, I promise you, I used to think this. I
don't think it'd be me, but I think it depends.
Hard telling, not knowing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, I guess.
I'm not saying that every girl only wants a rich, old, fat man who she has nothing in common with. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the journey is accelerated to her wanting someone that's more like that. That it's like, until I find a guy who's like really successful, I'm just going to kind of like do whatever and be like a little bit standoffish and pretentious and only
That's
care
good
about
though,
those
no? It
things.
makes men work harder?
I think so. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Like, for me, it's like very motivating. It was very humbling at first to be like, fuck, I'm just not quite at the level that I need to be to get the kind of girl that I want.
Right.
And I'm not saying that it's the kind of girl I want just because she likes nice shit. Like, I want a girl who's also happy with herself, that has her own interests, that isn't just characterized by money. But like, if a girl doesn't like nice shit, I'm going to be like, maybe something's going on here, right? Like, she should also like the nice shit. And so,
wow, okay. I would think that, okay, no, that makes sense.
I want her to like and enjoy nice shit, but that cannot determine her happiness. Just like me understanding that my happiness is not derived by the shit that I have, by the external things, it's derived by the work that I do.
But don't you also think a lot of guys like when a girl doesn't have nice shit and they get to give them everything?
Oh, yo, everyone always is like, yo, do you want a girl that like comes from money? Like, fuck no, I don't care about any of that. And they're like, and girls used to always say this. Like, a lot of Latina girls that I've dated would lie about their past and be like, I grew up like pampered and wealthy and this and that. And then I find out that they grew up dirt poor. And I'm like, yo, I fucking hated you when you told me that you like grew up princess and pampered. Like, why would you fucking ever say that? Like, I want you to be poor as fuck. Like, don't worry, you're not going to have to make any money. Like, I'm obviously making all the money. Don't fucking worry. In fact, I don't want you to do a fucking thing. All I want you to do is have your own interests. That's it. Like, be willing to be a part of the relationship and a caregiver and a caretaker and have your own interests. You don't need to make a shitload of money. You don't need to come from money. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Just like, have your own interests, be your own person, and be open-minded, and we'll be cool.
I think that's interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of times guys are like, I don't need a girl who, even guys I spoke to, like, I had a podcast once and I was actually seeing a guy who lived in Miami, and he's like, he's like, you don't need to work, nothing. Like, the guy was super, super rich, but he's like, I don't really like that you're like a podcaster. And I'm like, oh, cut, it's never going to work. He's like, I don't really like that you're like out there and stuff. I'm like,
fuck that.
Fuck, I almost had it all, man. I think sometimes you can't. I think a lot of girls in this situation would be like, you know what? Like, I don't want to lose this guy. Like, maybe, if my whole life's going to be taken care of, like, I'll just be that stay-at-home girl. But I think what a lot of guys don't realize is when you have the stay-at-home girl who doesn't have any interest, then she's nagging you all day.
All day.
All day she's nagging you.
I've been through it multiple times.
She's
it's like, yo, stop fucking annoying me during the day.
100%. But if somebody has their interest and, like, I'm so obsessed with my work that, like, I literally don't message me. I can't wait till we finally have a chance to speak so we have things to talk about.
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck about what you ordered coffee-wise, that you put Old Bay. Like, there's parts of me that I feel like are very masculine in the sense where, like, I understand men because I feel like a little bit of that. I don't know if it's because I grew up with brothers, so, like, I'm just a little bit more, like, black and white, like, whatever. Nobody cares that much. Like, move on, keep it rolling.
So a lot of people down here in Miami will meet out at the bar, at the club, out at a place, out at night, in the nightlife space, right? And I don't go out, I don't drink, I don't go to clubs, I don't party. And so I don't meet anybody in that arena. But thank God I don't meet anyone in that arena, because I don't want people that are looking for somebody else in that arena, because generally that's somebody that's spending their time doing things that are not important to me, that I don't want as a part of my life.
Right.
So for me, it's like when I'm looking for a girl, it's always like at the gym or, yoga or like a healthy place, maybe at like a farmer's market or whatever. And so for me, that's made it, a lot easier.
Yeah.
But also, I just haven't focused on, we talked about this, like, I just haven't focused on, like, finding a partner. I was so focused on myself and developing myself that, like, girls kind of just fell in my lap. And the way that happened, like, none of them were from Miami. They were all imported. So I've had
Important.
a very atypical dating career, and they all were trying to get visas. So I had like a 6 month like.
Oh my God, I love all of
See
them.
you later.
I love all
It was
of
a nice
them.
6 month
So
run,
good.
but like we not getting married. So, you know, all right, it is what it is. It was a good time.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Sometimes when I'll be talking to a guy, I'm so straight up and blunt and like I'm joking, I'm half joking, I'm half not. They're like, oh, okay, like, so like, what's your plan? I'm like, well, my plan is to marry you and get your visa. And they're like, sure. Like, and I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. I am, but like, you know what I mean? It's just like, put it out there right away.
Totally.
What's a first date for you?
It's always, for me, it's just always been a restaurant.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say always. No, it has been other things before. But I want to make sure that I'm able to like stand being around this girl for a period of time.
Would you do dinner or just drinks?
Well, since I don't drink, I just do dinner.
Oh, right.
And if I have to speed up the dinner, I can speed up the dinner. and I always go to places that I like to go to where I know everybody, so that if I need to like speed shit up and move it along, we can get in and out quickly.
What do you go up to the waiter and you're like, we got to make this quick?
And I'll just be like, okay, yeah, time to go. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I mean, I like nice food, so I'll just go to dinner. You know, it's like I was gonna get a nice meal anyway, so like you can kind of
Just
tag
join.
along. But like a good first date, like some of my best first dates were like paddle boarding, or
Okay.
like one was like a yoga, like fun active things. I think you can really like get to see and know
Get
somebody.
to see a body, yeah.
Yeah, you get to see a body. Yeah, exactly. Gym, that's been like a big thing for me. Is like, yo, let's go get a workout in, and I'm gonna see like, are you a little pussy?
You see,
or,
like I would never do that.
Yeah.
I would never.
Yeah.
I'm not going and work out with the guy I'm talking to.
Oh,
Like,
I love it. I can see right away, you know, because like I don't want you to be like, okay, so one thing that I love is like workout clothes and sneakers or whatever, like you're dressed right now, you know, like when a
you
girl's
can
like,
just say it.
when a girl's like, I have to wear heels and I have to get all dolled up and I have to do this, I'm like, yo, this might not work out. Like if you're not cool with me seeing you like in workout clothes and fucking normal and not like whatever all done up, like it's just gonna be a waste of time. I like fucking yoga and sneakers. You know, like yoga clothes and sneakers.
Wait, is like you have to really like nice things, but you also have to be so down to earth.
Exactly.
And you have to be like both.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
That's why I'm single, because it's like I have a very and also you have to be a complete fucking savage, right? Like we talked about, like you have to
Wait,
be
what do you mean by that?
Like like for me to date a girl, they have to be sexually so incredibly open-minded for me to like actually want to date them.
Yeah.
Right? Like they need to be okay with me being like, yo, I want you to squirt on my face.
Okay.
Like they need to be okay with like, I'm gonna eat your ass the second you come home. Even if we leave the gym and you're sweaty, like I'm still gonna eat your ass. Like they need to be really sexually
I think that's
open-minded.
hot though. I don't like when a guy is so like rules. I think that's so like or like if you like give them a blowjob and then they're like, oh, we're not making out. I'm like, oh, grow up.
Yo, fuck that.
Fuck off.
I will come in you and eat my cum out of you and then fucking spit it down your throat, you know? Like she got to be cool with that. Like she got to be so open-minded.
Yeah.
That like she's cool with that sort of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And also like I'm a real savage. So like if someone wants to try and change the way that I speak, the fact that like I came from a very, you know, street, you know, I sold drugs for a long period of time, and so like my mindset is very, very aggressive. I'm very comfortable at abrasion, and so if a girl's not comfortable at abrasion, she's not a complete savage. And also like I listen to really hood rap music, and I'm not gonna like be in the car and always compromise to like listen to something else. Like I like listening to other stuff, but I just am who I am. And so to find someone who's like street, hood, sexually open-minded, but also enlightened, been through a lot, well-educated, intellectual, nice, likes nice shit, but is also kind of a tomboy. I'm looking for like, you know, diamond in the rough, and it's just
You'll get it. You'll get it. It'll come. That's so funny. Actually, no, speaking of drugs, going back to that, I don't know if I told you this when we went out for dinner, but my brother used to sell drugs. This is like a long, long time ago. My intuition is insane. I feel like I know things before they happen. I feel like sometimes I'm even a witch. It's kind of scary. But I remember my brother was like maybe like 17 or 8. No, he was maybe like 18 years old. And my mom was just like, I don't know, like what's going on with him. And I remember looking at my mother and being like, well, your son sells drugs. And like, you know, like you would think the mom is the one like snooping through like, you know, the room, and like she would know. And I was like, well, your son sells drugs. And she's like, what do you mean? You know, like imagine like the daughter like finds it, but the mom is not even finding it. It's like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, no, he keeps it over there, like
You
it's
little
there.
snitch.
I know, and you know what? That actually like fucked me up for a long time. So I told my mom, and there was like pounds of cocaine, and my mom was just like in shock. Like, you know, obviously you don't want that for your son. And like on like that day he got kicked out, and I remember being like, this is my fault. I was like a young little girl, you know, and like I don't think I even had that conversation ever with my brother that like I was the one who like ratted on him.
Damn.
Yeah, he can't watch this episode.
Shit. Well, you're gonna have
But
to
this
come
was
clean
so
at some
long.
point.
This was so long ago, and like obviously now like he's not doing that anymore. And like obviously, you know, when you get fucking thrown to the wolves, you figure shit out.
Yo, if you really want to be free, you should make amends to him. You should go back in your life and you should tell him, listen, what's his name? Listen, I need to come clean about something with you. It's been bugging me and I've been holding on to it for a long period of time. When I was a little girl, I was actually the one that told mom that you were selling drugs. And I want you to know that I feel bad about it. And it's always in my mind, compromised my relationship and the way that I felt towards you. And I want to get this off my chest. It's something that I want to work through. And I don't expect your forgiveness for this, but I need to get this off my chest and talk about it. And I hope that, and if there's anything that I can do to make this right, please let me know. But I want to make sure that I work on consistently being a better person and do anything I can to strengthen my relationship with you.
Oh, you're so healthy. So
You
refreshing.
have to do this shit. Like, yo, this is what, in order for me to get sober and live a real life, I had to go back through a list of every single person that I either resented or that I harmed. And I had to go to them and had to make amends. And amends is not, I'm sorry for what I did. It's very easy to say I'm sorry. It's, hey, I made a mistake. I am committed to never doing anything like this again. I know this was really far along in the past, but one, I want to know, is there anything that I can do? And two, I'm committed to being the best possible version, and your relationship is very valuable to me. I want to do everything I can in my power to strengthen that relationship. And then you just have to let them be. When I did this to my dad, he said to me, is this coming from you, or is this the shit they put you up to in AA? And I'm like, fuck, well, it's both. Like, this is part of the program, but Dad, I really mean this shit. And he's like, actions speak louder than words. We'll see how you do. And I didn't speak to my dad for a year and a half, and I made this amends like about a year in, and it took him another 6 months to see that I was serious about being a better person in all aspects for him to eventually talk to me. But this is the shit that cleared my mind, my anxiety. This is what reduced my ego. This is what helped me be a little bit more selfless. This is what helped me cultivate a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
Right? Because we hold on to these resentments
sure.
and these worries in our life, and it might be extremely painful to do this, but that's the shit that can clear you and have you have like the most positive, clear spiritual experience.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk to my brother, so thanks for that.
No problem.
I also think there's so much power in apologizing. Like, I used to be like, well, I'm obviously not wrong. Like, whatever, it's the other person. But I really, really changed in that aspect. Like, now I'm just like, I don't even care. Like, I want to just apologize so that I clear my conscience. I feel better. And I'm like, I'm not looking for... I'm apologizing in hopes that like you apologize. It's just like, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it because, and I think also even just like not even getting a response, or like when you're apologizing for something you did, you're just like, wow, like I feel good about it.
An apology doesn't mean I'm wrong, you were right. An apology just means I respect you and I respect myself.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's good. Deep. Fucking deep. Let's go back to dating.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so a first date for you is normally not drinks, obviously.
I just usually go to dinner. You know, it's very easy.
Do you tell someone before you go on a date, like, oh, I don't drink, by the way?
No, I never bring it up because I don't even think about it. You know, to me, it doesn't even matter. A lot of times a girl will be like, oh, but I feel bad like having a drink. I'm like, yo, I still have friends that party and do all that shit. That shit doesn't even bother me. I don't even notice the difference between me drinking a Shirley Temple and you having a fucking martini. Like, this shit don't even register to me. It doesn't even, I don't even think about it, you know?
Yeah,
I don't
for
care if
sure.
someone drinks.
Yeah. I know. I think it's actually better like that. My ex was like a huge drinker. And I would always be like, I felt like his mother in a way where it was like, okay, well, I literally am never drinking because I'm taking care of you. And I'm always like worried about like, you know, if he drinks too much, what if he acts a certain way? And like, I felt like, why am I his mother in this situation when it's like, it is not my job here.
I can't be around a girl who's getting drunk.
100%.
Like, yo, if they can't control themselves, like, get the fuck out of here.
100%. I'm doing the fucking opposite. I'm like taking care of someone. And I think when you come on that side of, you know, when you come from that side of it, when you're with someone who is like, you feel like you can like loose a little bit and drink, and it's like, oh, my man has me, you know, like it's such a different vibe. It's like, wow.
Totally. It's like the best feeling ever. Like, no matter what, I'm going to be on the highest possible level.
Yeah.
You know, and every girl that's ever been with me would say that. It's like, look, I have maximum control over every social situation. I know the name of every single valet, every butler, every waiter, every server, everything we do. I have ultimate control, so they don't have to worry about shit. I don't drink. I'm always sober. I'm always clear, and I'm always making logical decisions. So, like, ultimately, how could they not feel extremely safe with me? There's fucking nothing to worry about. Like, I'm going to take care of motherfucking everything all the time.
Yeah. If you can go back to one drug, what would it be?
Ketamine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite shit by far.
Do you ever like have moments where you're like, oh, I want it right now?
So once in a while, I have the thought of ketamine. Yeah, for sure. That's the only drug that I've ever thought about. Like, look, I used to do a ton of Oxycontin, but Oxycontin's not even attractive to me anymore because after I got out of rehab, they put me on this like Suboxone shit, and it made my stomach really weak. And now when I think about painkillers, I think about throwing up. So it's not even attractive. But yeah, ketamine, man, like, oh, I love the dissociation.
What is the feeling like? I've never done it.
Ketamine is dissociative. It dissociates your mind from your body. So your body, it feels like it has a lead blanket on it. It feels very, very heavy. Like you can't even move. Like you sink all the way into the couch. And then your brain and your mind doesn't slow down in that same fashion. It dissociates, and it's still very aware. You're still able to process and think.
Okay.
But everything becomes like a little bit funny and a little bit silly. And so it's almost like if you got a little bit of high with like a slight bit of euphoria of Molly in a way.
Yeah.
A little different because it's you know, a downer in a way, but it makes you feel very happy and silly, but yet you can hardly move. And most people, they go into like what's called a K-hole when they do too much.
We're not selling this, by the way.
No. It's okay. There's incredible therapeutic benefits to ketamine. Like ketamine IV treatments done under the supervision of a doctor are very therapeutic, and this is legal. You can do ketamine IV treatments maybe not anywhere in the United States, but in many states in the United States. And it's amazing for like PTSD or depression or anxiety disorders. There's tremendous benefit to this. So I believe wholeheartedly in ketamine. Like for people using ketamine in the right fashion under the supervision of a doctor, it's great. My problem is that I'm an addict and that I will just consistently do it over and over again and ruin my life and start doing other things. But I think ketamine was actually helpful for my brain in some ways. Like it's made me a very positive, happy-go-lucky person.
Do you think that you're one of two? Either you have an addictive personality or you just don't?
Yeah. I mean, I was born with this, you know, for sure. It's not like people always ask, like, what happened in your life that made you get into drugs and alcohol? It's like, no, I was born an addict. Like, you can even ask my parents. We used to go on cruises when I was a kid.
Like, whatever it would be.
It doesn't matter. I would go up to the buffet line. I would get 3 plates. I'd put it on my little tray. I'd go back, and I'd eat a bite of each little thing. And then I'd push it to the side, and I'd go back up, and I'd do it again. Over and over and over. I'd take a bite of the hot dog, a bite of the cheeseburger, a bite of the fries, and then I'd push it, and I'd keep going back and back and back. I've always been like that. I've always ordered 2 entrees and an appetizer and dessert. I've always been like just a fucking glutton for everything. Like being an addict or an alcoholic has nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. It has everything to do with your mind and the way that it processes, because it could be food, it could be sex, it could be anything else in your life that you use addictively. It's a problem with the mind, not drugs and alcohol. So once you can understand that, it's like, oh wow, I just have to work on my mind. Once my mind changes, I cannot be addicted to these substances.
Yeah. Let's talk about threesomes.
Oh, yeah.
So you've done a lot of threesomes, also with partners, and you're never going back down that route.
Well, okay, so I think, you know, when I was younger and had threesomes and they were just like, I would meet 2 girls and they were friends and they wanted to fuck, like, great, that was fun. You know what I mean? But I had 2 different situations where my girlfriend wanted to bring girls into the relationship, friends of theirs. And this wasn't something that I promoted or asked for. They were like, hey, you know, like I want to bring my friend in. And
guys, we're eating dinner and he's like, do you like girls? And I'm like, I mean, I like girls, but I don't like girls. He's like, no, but like, have you hooked up with girls? I'm like, well, I made out with a girl, but I've never like hooked up. He's like, okay. You're like staring at me like, okay.
I'm always interested to know. I just
Yeah.
like to know if girls like girls, you know. I mean, like the last girl I dated, she fucked girls all the time, and I loved it. You know, I used to just like send me videos and show me you fucking girls. But,
Yeah.
But the reason that I didn't bring another girl into that relationship was because in the past, whenever I did that, when you would actually get into the situation and start fucking the friend, my main girl would be like, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, yo, you wanted to bring this girl into the situation, but like what they don't understand is it sounds novel until they actually see you in action fucking another girl, like dick inside, and they're like, fuck, like this is not my man's anymore. Like they start to like, it changes everything about the relationship. It takes a very, very, very special woman to be like okay with that, and it just didn't happen to me in my past life. And so I was like, look, like I don't have any desire to be in a relationship and have a threesome or bring another girl into the relationship. Like when I'm with a girl, like I'm with a girl and I'm cool. As long as she's open-minded and like willing to do crazy, freaky shit, I don't need another girl.
Yeah.
You know, but like, yeah, the whole novelty of like doing like a couple girls at once, like, yeah, I mean, the shit was fun, you know? When I was...
Now you're like, you have fun if you want, but count me out.
Oh my God. So, all right. So I was like maybe 25, right? And I'm on the boat with my friends and we've been out wake surfing all day, like 14 hours. And they're like, yo, we need to get food. We can't bring the boat into the dock any further, so we have to like anchor it here, and someone's got to go swim in and get food at that snack bar on the beach over there. It's like a public beach. So I'm like, all right, I'll go in, I'll do it. I go in, I get like a shitload of hot dogs, hamburgers, fucking drinks, everything. And I carry them out, and the water's like up to my neck. And so I carry them all the way back out to the boat, and I hand them up to my buddies, and my buddy's got the binoculars on. Right. And he's like, yo, did you not see those 3 girls fucking sitting there in the orange, the yellow, and the black bikini? And I'm like, no, bro, I'm fucking starving. I'm not looking at any girls. I went to the snack bar to get fucking snacks, man. What the fuck? And he's like, bro, get the fuck back in there and go get those 3 girls. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I hand him the shit and I go back and I go up to these 3 girls and I stop and I pause for a second and I look at them and I never blank. I don't really get nervous. I'm totally cool with standing there and having a moment to collect myself. I just don't really feel that sort of nervousness in social situations. I never have. And I'm standing there over them. And for some reason, I was just so tired. I blanked on what to say. And I just stared at the 3 of them and they look up and they go, are we in trouble? And I go, not yet. And it just like my shit clicked back on and I was like, yo, you see that boat out there? Like we're wake surfing. We're going to just go hang out for sunset and take some cruises. Like you guys want to come? We got some drinks and weed and stuff. And they're like, should we bring our stuff with us? And I was like, yeah, definitely. So I grab their bags and I hold them over my head. And then they walk all the way out to the boat. Like they're like fucking up to here. My buddies grab them, pull them on the boat. Pull them on the boat. We're having a lovely time. Like they're fucked up. We're all fucked up. They're like dancing. Music's good. Sunset cruises. And after like an hour of being out there on the boat, my buddy comes up to me. He's like, bro, like these girls are not into us. Like they're only into you. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, let me just take Nina and you guys like go talk to the girls, you know? And they're like, no, dude. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Stop being a pussy. Just go do it. And they're like, okay, whatever. So another like half an hour goes by and my buddy's like, yo, we're going to go pick up some other girls at this other dock like down so we can have more girls that are into us. And I'm like, all right, fine, let's go. So we do that. We're out until like, 10 o'clock at night, just having a fucking time. And these 3 girls are definitely like not into anyone else in the boat. Like all 3 of them are all over me. And I'm like, this is what you motherfuckers get for making me get the. I hadn't eaten. They didn't even give me any hot dogs and hamburgers.
You're about to eat.
No, yeah, right. So okay, so like all this shit's happening, and we go and pick up these other girls for my buddies, and then we get off the boat and we go back to my house. I had this house on the lake, like 4-bedroom house, like fucking. I had a 6-foot by 7-foot standing steam shower, 2 waterfalls, huge steamer, everything right in the house. So we get back to the house.
You're gonna do it.
We get back to the house, and. Everyone else is behind us. I'm with these 3 girls. And I felt like Alien in Spring Breakers. You ever seen the movie Spring Breakers?
Yeah.
Like I'm listening to some hood ass shit. I'm smoking weed in my car. Like, and these girls are just like
the thug life just can't leave you.
And they're all over me in the car, like fucking. Okay, so we get back to the house and the 3 of them go into the kitchen and they like open up the fridge and like, hey, can we have something to drink? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And they're like, come here. And I'm like, what? What's up? And they're like, we want to fuck you. And I'm like, the 3 of you? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, right now? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, go in the steam shower. Let me make sure like I can organize the house so everyone else can do their thing. Let's go in the steam shower. So I go in the steam shower with the 3 of them. I start doing everything. I'm like eating one of them out and fingering the other 2, like having a proper 4-way. Never happened in my life. And I'm like in heaven, right? All of a sudden, I didn't lock the door. All of a sudden the door opens and my buddy like knocks on the wall and he's like, bro, I know what you're doing, and I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I think homegirl broke her ankle. One of the other girls that they had invited, right? So I'm like, all right. I put on a towel.
Don't tell me ankle girl joins.
No.
Okay.
So I'm just straight fucking boner sticking out of the towel, and I go out there, and I'm like, what's up? And I look at this girl, and her ankle is already like a fucking softball, already black and blue, and I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, what happened? They're like, she was dancing on the table, and she fell off and broke her ankle. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm in the middle of something. It's like, cut the shit. Like, this is fucking unbelievable. I'm like, look. Can any of you drive? And one of my buddies was like, yeah, I mean, I could. And I'm like, dude, you've had like 30 beers today, but fuck it. Like, take my car. We go put the girls in the car. My other buddy sits driver, the passenger seat. And I'm like, okay, you guys got to get the fuck out of here. So all of them leave. They take my car to the hospital. And I go back inside after like, this took a little while, 15, 20 minutes. The girls are getting hot in the steam shower. I go back in, and all three of them are out of the steam shower. And they're like, do we need to go now? And I'm like, no.
Get back in there.
I'm like, no, let's go into my room. So end up fucking like just unbelievable, the day of my life. And everyone always asks her like, but how did you like keep three girls occupied?
I was going to ask you that
right?
next.
It's like, okay, look, you eat one out and then you fucking finger the other two. And then you have to be a director, right? You have to say like, yo, you kiss you touch you do this, you stick your fingers in her mouth.
Wait, you were directing.
Always, you have to be a director,
Wow.
So I'm doing this, and then I'm like, yo, can any of you squirt? And then the one girl's like, yeah, I can. And I'm like, all right, yo, Nina, you make her squirt.
No, I can't.
And so that's going on, and like, just wild ass time, right? Like for me, the craziest sexual thing I've ever had happen because like I never like fucked three girls at the same time, and they were all like down. And so we finished. They were like, oh my God, that was crazy. Like, we want to let you know something. When we were sitting on the beach, we were talking about right before you came up to us, we were talking about like, wouldn't it be cool if like some really sexy guy wanted to hook up with all three of us at the same time? Like, would you guys be down? And they're like, yeah, that would be awesome. Like all three of us with one guy. And then you showed up and then just fucking stood there and didn't say a word. And I'm like, wow, what a day. So I go back, I sit on the couch. This was so funny. I'm just butt naked, sitting on the couch, and I just start smoking cigarettes inside my house. All the windows closed, like just inside smoking cigarettes, just so happy. My buddy comes back from the hospital, and all the three girls are naked, and I'm naked. I'm just smoking cigarettes.
What movie is this?
No ashtray. No, I'm just literally putting my cigarettes on the table, cigarette after cigarette, just so happy, just listening to Rick Ross and Plies, and just like, fuck it. Like, yeah, you guys can put on whatever you want. And my buddy comes back in, and he's like, really, dude? I'm like, yeah. And they're just like still naked, like touching each other and fucking. You're
like, by the way, the girl who fucked up her ankle, how's she doing?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, how's Mia, dude? Don't care.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
So it can be fun, but like, bringing a girl into a relationship is just a bad idea, in my opinion.
Yeah. And how do you know when someone's just a fuck and when you take them serious? Someone was saying how you know in the first 60 seconds. Would you agree with that?
Takes a little bit longer than that, but you can know, like, in one date, you can know if you have like enough aligned values and thought process about life that they could like make it to be a girlfriend, or if like you're just gonna fuck them, Okay. But one thing that I think is very important, all the time I hear this. Girls would be like, yeah, but if I fuck you on the first time, you're not going to want it and you're never going to see me again. It's like, no, that's not true at all. Like that fucking thought process should be shattered. Like the last 4 girlfriends I had, we fucked on the first time.
Okay.
And like other girls that fucking didn't give it up.
I feel like you're like
saying this to you.
Yeah, literally.
No, I wasn't even thinking about
Bitch,
that.
open your fucking legs.
Nah.
Don't say shit.
Nah. I'm just saying there's no correlation there. Like, and maybe every guy is different, but like there's no correlation there. Like my thought process isn't like, oh, this girl was easy. Like because she gave it up, I'm not going to talk to her again. Like we vibe or we don't vibe. I understand I'm a little bit different than many other guys.
Yeah.
So with some guys that may be the case, but like, yo, if we vibe, we vibe. There for me is no thought of like, you waited to make me have it. I want it more. Like usually when a girl would like make me wait for like a long period of time, I'd be like, yo, fuck this.
Okay.
I'm not fucking playing your games anymore. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know how many fucking applicants I have?
Interesting. Okay. I think my thought process behind it is kind of like, I don't want to just sleep with so many people. Like I'm very particular. So I think for me, it's like, well, I don't want to like hit a body with someone that like, yeah, it was great meeting and connecting with. And then it's like, peace. That's it. But I guess that's probably like the state I'm in where I'm like, I'm looking for my husband. So why am I going to like entertain? Also, like, it's energy, right? When you're sleeping with someone, you're sharing energy. So I think sometimes, like, I've been in situations too where I had sex and I'm like, I don't feel good about this afterwards. Sometimes, yes, great. But having sex is like energy. You're sharing energy. So if someone's not on that same vibe.
Totally.
I don't know.
But so for me, like, I'm not just gonna fuck a girl.
You're like,
because
so
she's
wait,
hot.
the energy was bad, or
No, not even that. Like, I'm just not gonna fuck a girl if she's just hot and I don't vibe with her. But like, if we vibe. That's cool. Like, if your personality is cool and like I can enjoy like talking to you and you're smart and you're not just like a complete fucking moron and like we're kind of have some similar interests and you're sexy, like, fine. Like, you know, I'm never gonna feel bad about fucking a girl that like I felt attracted to more than just physically.
right.
But like, yeah, if it was just purely physical and like I couldn't stand the girl, yeah, I mean, that's a different story.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. I actually heard this guy say something and I want to get your thoughts on it. He was like, every guy has that one girl that got away and they compare every single person to that one girl. And I want to know, is this true? You can think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
And I was like, fuck my life, I'm single forever. And I'm also like, wait, who am I? Like, I wonder how many people I am that girl too, you know?
yeah,
Like, how many people did I fuck up?
I think, yeah, I think there can definitely be that element of like, yeah, there was one girl that got away, and I'm gonna always compare her. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a thing.
Yeah.
But with that girl, has it ever like amounted to anything, or was it just the idea of them and you created this like false reality of who they would be?
The latter. Yeah. It's not like, yeah, it's just you created the false reality of who they would be 100%.
Because I think a lot of the times, like, men especially think a little bit more like that. Like, even when a guy is talking to me and he'll be like, you're literally everything I want, like body-wise, brain. And I'm like, oh, like, it gives me anxiety when someone's just like, so like, almost like they put me on this ladder that I'm a goddess and I have nothing wrong with me, that I'm like, oh, I'm distancing myself because I'm a little like, I have anxiety now because I think you look at me like this perfect person and then like there's going to be imperfections. I'm not perfect, you know? So I'm like, well, no, like, hold on there. I'm human, you know? And I think sometimes men like,
yeah, I mean, it's very easy to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, as a man, it's very easy to look at a woman and be like, okay, we had these two amazing first dates.
Yeah.
And, like, she's fucking perfect and everything's awesome. But, like, the whole point of getting into a relationship is actually, like, what are your inadequacies? What do you do that I don't like? And are we able to properly communicate and get through those things and solve those together? So your ability to actually like get through problems and be open-minded and communicate is actually more important than like the ideal that a man has of a woman. And a lot of times that doesn't happen where, you know, a man will just be like, I just love the thought of her, not like I've seen the shit that I don't like and have we solved it together.
yeah.
So,
Something I learned, I guess, from like my parents' relationship, like they're obviously still together and that's why I'm a perfect fucking human and I was raised properly and I'm amazing and I'm ready to get married. One thing that I really learned from them was that they never go to bed angry or mad at each other. Like, they have to communicate and get to the bottom of it before they go to bed, which
Smart.
I think is so beautiful. Because I think sometimes like the worst part about a fight is like when you're in your guys are both in your own minds thinking, you know, you're probably wrong about what someone's thinking, and you just create this whole, like, you just become angry about something that could just be solved if you just communicate how you feel.
Or if you just let them sleep in the doggy bed, you know?
Oh my God, we have to talk about that. Oh my God. So guys, Wade does not sleep in a bed with a girl, even if he's dating her.
I mean, I more recently I have, but in the past I never ever did.
Don't change what you tell me.
Yeah. No, like my last girlfriend, I slept with her, but for the most part, I would love to not. You know, like most of my relationships in the past, I'd be like, look, you got to go sleep in the guest room, or you know, my favorite relationship was I had this girlfriend and she would always wake up like in the middle of the night, like I had a nightmare, like can we cuddle, or like try and touch me, and I wake up and be like, yo, Riley, you have to fucking stop with this shit, like don't do this ever again. And I'm like, you just can't sleep over. And she'd be like, no, but then we can't have a relationship, I want to sleep over. And I'm like, all right, I have a solution. So I got a
Find you a man with a solution.
I got a second bed and I put it at the foot of my bed, right? A little mattress on the floor, right? So I have a bed and I take this little mattress and I put the sheets on and I make the bed for her and we would have cuddle time. And at the end of cuddle time, I would say, okay, Riley, go down to your little doggy bed and go sleep there.
I'm sorry, Aika.
Right? And she would go down and say, hey, look, it's not like I'm completely insensitive. I like cuddle time as well. But once cuddle time was over, you can go down and you can sleep in your own bed. And then when you wake up in the morning, if it's the appropriate time, you can come and talk to me and cuddle with me again. But until that time, just let me fucking sleep. And stay in your own goddamn doggy bed.
I could just picture myself in that bed being like, Daddy, can I come in now?
Yep. That's exactly how the relationship was. It was perfect.
I can understand for a guy also when you're cuddling, bro, your hand goes numb.
Yeah.
You know, like the underneath scoop, like I don't know. Yeah, I get it.
Like, don't try and fucking interrupt
but also
my sleep.
when a guy stops cuddling you, it's kind of like, bitch, come back here, you know?
That's what you want?
I mean, it depends. When it's time for bed and I'm ready, first of all, I always want to fall asleep first. Like, why are you sleeping first? And men, they just go to bed, not a thought. They just pass out first. Also, what I find unattractive is like if a guy wakes up late. I don't care if I wake up a little bit later. My man needs to be up.
Yep,
It's
of course.
like if I wake up and you're still sleeping, that's the biggest ick. I'm literally like,
Of
no, I'm
course.
tweaking right now. I'm like, get up and make money, you fucking loser.
Exactly. But that's why I don't want to cuddle with a girl and fall asleep like fucking cuddling. Like, yo, let me get my proper sleep. Let me wake up and go to fucking war all day long. You know, let me help me be optimized so that I can wake up and just fucking murder the day.
So get in the doggy bed.
It's like, look, this is benefiting both of us. Do you want me to fucking cuddle with you in the middle of the night so that I wake up tired, groggy, not having a good sleep with body aches so that I'm not able to provide for you as much as I should? Or do you want me to wake up fully fucking optimized, make a shitload of money, have proper decisions, have my emotions be in check, have everything be spot on so that you can have a better life? You leaving me alone creates a better life for you. So leave me the fuck alone.
Too fucking good. Can we talk about your nails?
Sure. What you want to know about them?
Well, they're blinding me right now, so I
Yeah.
feel like we should talk about them.
I mean, I just love having my fingernails painted, you know?
Can you show the camera?
Yeah.
Can you? So we're eating dinner and you brought it up. Actually, I didn't notice, which I normally always notice things. You're like, yeah, like I get my nails done. And I was like, okay, yeah, like he gets them, cut. And then I'm looking and I'm like, because the restaurant was a bit dark. And I'm like, oh, he like gets his nails done. And you were like, yeah, fuck it. Like your attitude towards it is kind of like the best part of it. And like, I think a lot of times people will have judgment, even me, but it's all how somebody acts, If they're so comfortable in the fact that they have nail polish, it's like, how do you want to like diss someone who's just like, I'm so comfortable, like these are my nails,
Yeah,
and I like it.
I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? To me, it's just the ultimate flex. I'm way too confident to let somebody's opinion of me affect me.
So are you gonna do red next, or?
I just don't like red. You know what I mean? It's not that I wouldn't do a color if it like fit who I am, but I like the nude, the light pink, the sparkles.
Oh, you do light pink.
Like light nudish pink. Like that's just my color palette. I'm not trying to do like red, blue, green. I'm not trying to do bright colors. It just doesn't match.
Do you feel off when you don't have your nails painted?
No, I feel fine. Like I hadn't had them painted for a long time. Like I did it during COVID, and then I had a corporate job and I didn't have them painted.
And then you're like, I'm going on a date with Alessia. Let me make sure my nails are did.
Yeah, just more recently, I was just thinking to myself, like, it's the ultimate flex. For me, it's just like, when somebody looks at me in public and they're like, I just don't understand, like, is that guy gay? And they're like, whoa, but like, he's the most confident motherfucker ever. And he's like, oh, he's with a 12? Like, I guess he's just very confident. Like, what the fuck else are you going to say to me?
100%. And then when I saw your nails, I was like, oh, like, so have you hooked up with guys? Like the next question after that.
Yeah. It's like, no, I'm 100% straight, like but there's everybody can say that about anything that I do. And this is so funny. On Instagram, I see this all the time. People are like, whoa, you're a robot because you live by a calendar. Like you must have a boring life. It's like, motherfucker, you ever seen the girls that I've been with? Like, oh, you have painted nails. You must be gay. Like, motherfucker, you ever seen the girls I've been with? Like, just because I don't show it on Instagram, like I might start. I might start like.
Oh my God, you're gonna be the Dan Bazillion.
No, I don't want to because like no, but I don't want like many girls like around all the time. That's not my thing. Like I would rather just have one girl. Quite honestly, like it's so much better. Like dealing with multiple girls at once is a fucking nightmare.
I always say that. I'm like, how do these like Andrew Tates and everything, how do they deal with like so many different wives? I'm like,
Dude.
dealing with one is like,
It's a nightmare. Like whenever I'm like single and like a couple different girls are like talking to me at the same time, I'm just so short, you know, with them. Like I'm just like, yo, I don't have time for this shit. Like
it's draining.
It's exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I didn't answer. I don't know if it's important, but I didn't answer exactly like what my coaching is.
Oh yeah.
So because what we were talking about was getting sober, overcoming autoimmune disorder,
Yes.
and everything else that I've changed in my life. So I went from incredibly unhealthy, not caring about nutrition, to understanding nutrition and diet, becoming healthy, beating my autoimmune disorder, getting sober, and really just like pulling myself out of this hole that I was in. I was $100,000 in credit card debt. I had a shitty little apartment. My friends weren't really talking to me. I had no relationship with my family. I thought happiness was all external. And so I solved all these issues, right? I got sober, I got fit, I got healthy, I beat my autoimmune disorder, I got my friends back, my family back. I dug myself out of credit card debt, and I went from a car salesman to the president of 10X Health, right? In a 3-year period of time, I taught myself medicine, business by working with a mentor, but I taught myself all these things, and I ascended to sober, fit, healthy, meditating, reading books, friends, family, making a positive impact, and running a $50 million a year healthcare company, right? And so my life had transformed so radically as a result of focusing 100% of my time on myself and my personal and professional development. And having a mentor is what really changed my life and accelerated my success so quickly that I said to myself, fuck, I should be doing this. Like I've solved every single problem that someone could want to solve in their life. I should really help other people do this. And so my coaching helps people with all of this, right? With mindset, with physique, with confidence, relationships, with sobriety, health, making money, scaling a business, managing employees. I help people with everything because these are the problems that I've actually solved for myself. So rather than being some fake fuck and just saying I have a skill set and I want to be a coach, like, no, I've overcome all the problems. And so as a result of that, that's why my coaching program, I think, is powerful. And I think it makes a real change because I'm just a real, authentic, raw motherfucker who's overcome a shitload of problems.
And you have different packages,
Yep.
obviously. Like someone can get one that has it all, and how? Like, what does a package consist of? Like, you give them, like, do you do coaching like one-on-one?
Yep. Yeah. So I have a group program and a one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
So in group coaching, it's mindset, fitness, nutrition, health, and we have group calls once a week. They can Q&A. They can ask me about anything, and I talk about everything on those calls: personal development, professional development, financial, emotional, relationship. Whatever they want to ask me, nothing is off limits. I'm happy to help people in whatever arena they need that week. And then I have one-on-one coaching. And most of my one-on-one clients are either salespeople, professionals, executives, or entrepreneurs. And we focus on personal development, but a lot on the professional and business development. So, you know, helping them grow, structure, scale their companies, get ready for exit, manage employees, everything that's needed for them to make more money.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy to come from where you were to now and to be helping people? I think, you know, the hardest things happen to the people who can take it. And I think that's you. And I think this whole journey had to happen. Everything happens for a reason. You needed to go through that in order to help so many people. So that's the beauty at the end of this, is like, you're helping so many people. So if you had to go through all of that for that, then that's a fucking win.
It was a gift. Everything that I went through, and this is where people get this wrong, the challenges and the struggles that people go through are actually the gifts to have a greater impact on helping other people.
Yes.
And that's how I view my life. I don't regret anything that's happened. It's been a gift. The other thing that I'll say is, my whole life, people wanted to suppress who I was as a person. To say it's not cool that you're some, like, you know, white kid that grew up in suburbia and that, like, you think you're a complete thug and a drug dealer and you like rap music and you talk hood as fuck and you swear a lot and you use a lot of slang. Everyone wanted to be like, this, you shouldn't be that. Or you shouldn't want to date a girl who squirts on you and likes ass to mouth or is a complete freak. You shouldn't like this. You shouldn't paint your nails. You shouldn't. And the moment that I said, fuck all of you, I'm going to be exactly who I want to be, my presence started to grow online. And now, instead of suppressing who I am and my personality, I am who I am, and it's what makes me unique. And the reason that so many people resonate with my message is because I can speak about things at a very high level. I can speak about stoicism, emotional intelligence, business, meditation, mindfulness, high level concepts, medicine. I can speak about all this at a very rudimentary, simple level with my own street slang and by swearing. And so people are going to remember what I say more than other people because I have a flair about me that instead of suppressing, I embodied that. So for anybody watching this, don't fucking let anybody tell you who you should be, what part of your character is cool, or that you should be something or someone. Fuck everybody. Be yourself and you'll have the greatest possible impact.
Wait, thank you so much for coming on. This was so fun. I feel like I've learned so much too from sitting with you. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Where
me.
can they find you?
At Wade Houston on Instagram.
And he's going to work on his TikTok. So
That's right. I'll be getting on TikTok and YouTube and all my shit. But
Yes.
Wade Houston on Instagram for right now.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. That was great.
Hell yeah.
I'm so happy.
Dope. Told you it was
You
dope.
are so well spoken.
Thank you.
It's gonna
It's easy.
be.
You're easy to talk to. And you add good and you add well into the conversation
Thank
too.
you.
You know, because like the podcaster can't just ask questions, they have to be able to add insight to spark ideas in other people as well. So it's really good that you do that.
Thank you.
You're good at it. And you interject at the right times.
Thank you.